lot of people fucking hate me for driving this car at 21. They see me walking in the gym like I'm unemployed. They see me at the nicest restaurants in Dallas and they say, what is this kid doing? And the reason they hate me isn't because it's me, it's because it's a self-reflection on the things that they didn't do when they were my age. The opportunities that they didn't take when they had it given to them. When the opportunity to actually make something of themselves was presented, they failed to take action. And now they live life with regret and portray it onto people like myself when I'm in their presence. And all I want to say is life is always a reflection. You look back and perceive things on what you went through and how you acted on it. My biggest message to you guys right now is 10 years, 20 years down the road, you don't look at a kid like me and say, I wish I fucking did that. But here's the best part. The things that are hard in life are the same things that will make you stronger and are the same things that will allow you to be in my position. And the best part about it is with the right mindset, nothing is hard anymore. Everything that's a challenge becomes fun. Everything that got me here that I struggled through was fun because I knew that I was willing to take and accept the ride that other people did not have the courage to take. And in this video, I want to show you exactly how you can unfuck your mind to make hard challenges in life actually fun and obtainable. See, I grew up in a small town in Massachusetts. We had about 10,000 people in my town growing up. And the problem was nobody from my town, and even in Massachusetts, really had made a name for themselves. I mean, I can list a few of my inspirations, but the list is very small. I had such a limiting belief from a young age that I could do anything great because of my environment. My entire time in high school, all of my friends, all my friend groups, the people in the small towns around me, everybody was either a stoner or an alcoholic, and they just had no ambition. They didn't want to go and do things in their life. You know, they thought they had it figured out. And that was the worst part. They already pre-made the decision that that's what they wanted to do their whole life. Drink, smoke, party on the weekends, go to school, work a job, work a 9 to 5. And if nobody around me could match where I wanted to go, then I had to separate myself. You know, even when I started working concrete when I was 16, my entire environment was just people that decided to take the route that I didn't want to take long term and suffered through it. A lot of these guys that I meet, they're great guys, and trust me, we had some good laughs, but they're hunched over in pain. They start drinking at 9 a.m., all of these things that just don't align with my goals. And the problem was, my environment dictated who I became, because that's all I knew. Even at 16, I started waking up, going to work and drinking, and just getting along with all the guys, because that's how I knew how to fit in. My environment made those things normal. That was the biggest problem. When your environment sets expectations that are normal with multiple people, you now feel comfortable with doing it on your own. Because you say, well, he's doing it, and he's doing it, and he's doing it, and they're the only people I hang out with. It must be okay if I'm doing it, because we can all be average. And that's fucking terrible. That's the last thing that you need to do. The first mindset change that you need to have in your life is to extract yourself from those things and understand I don't have to be around these people. I don't have to do the things that they do, and I can start my life and live it the way I want to live it. And sometimes this is the hardest part for people, but I'm telling you, in the long run, this is the end goal. Even when I got to college, I was a Division I running back. I went Division I for football. I was around high caliber athletes with similar mindsets, driven to make it to the NFL. But of course, just like anything else, it's college. They're gonna have athletes that only go, they don't believe in themselves anymore because they see the competition, and then they just smoke, right? They smoke and they throw away their entire plan. Or they start drinking on the weekend. They start lusting, right? Every single weekend, new chicks in the dorms every single week. And the typical college crowd, you guys get it. Everyone partying on the weekends, everybody trying to influence you to make the wrong decisions, to not stick by your guns. And that's the biggest problem for me, was just finding people that I knew I could stick with to the end in purpose of achieving something greater than what everybody else around us wanted to achieve. Throughout every single phase of my life, I think the first mindset switch that I needed to take, and that you guys need to take, is if you're the only one that knows what you need to do on a day-to-day basis, then you need to be the only one in your life. Because if nobody around you can hold you accountable to getting better, they're only gonna hold you accountable to the standards that they set for themselves, and you're gonna fall to it. Let me take you guys into my mind of my breaking point. I want you guys to relive the situation with me. I spent my whole life trying to go Division I. From a town that nobody had made it from a school that was Division 8 in a trade school, from a place where everything set against me was deemed to win, and yet I still made it Division 1. I had worked my entire life for this one goal. I made the team. I started on special teams that first season on my sophomore year. This was a punt block, okay? I have been training for this exact moment all damn season. They snap it, the punter gets the ball, I rush off the edge, I block the punt, I scoop it up, and I score a damn touchdown. This put us back into the game. We were down by 6, now we were tied. Everybody was crazy on the sidelines. People were cheering because I was the underdog. I've always been the underdog the whole life. The entire time, everything in my story has been the underdog. All the crowds were cheering. My team literally started ripping my gear off of my body in excitement. Everybody was going nuts. But I happened to also be on kickoff the very next play. So they're calling my name, Trey, get out here. And I'm fighting through the crowd. I'm literally putting my cleat back on in my helmet, and I line up. That same kickoff, the play after I scored my first touchdown, which I worked so hard to do my entire life, I planted wrong on the turf, I tore my ACL, I tore my meniscus, and I microfractured the end of my femur in the same cut. In one play after I scored the touchdown. My entire life lived up to that moment. I thought that was my dream, gone. That was my vision, gone. That was the plan the entire time, gone. Not only did I lose the rest of my season, but I lost opportunity for a scholarship, I lost my spot, and I lost all the ambition I had to continue with football, knowing that that was the end of my career. And so after I dropped out, I was at pretty much the lowest point of my life. That same following January, 3 months down the road, I lost my Nana to cancer. She was one of the most important people in my life. Not only was she my only grandmother, but she helped raise us growing up. I do 90% of the things I do during the day to honor her. When I make a decision, I'm always thinking of her, and I lost her, gone. At this point, lost my scholarship for Division 1, lost my job. I couldn't work concrete or any trades because I couldn't walk. And I lost my Nana, who was literally the most important person in my life. And so I could have 2 decisions from here. One, I heal up and I go back to what I used to do, which is working concrete, or I heal up and I make a damn change in my life to say, no matter what I go through, I'm going to make one hell of a story out of it. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't want to be in my hometown for any longer, so I flew across the country just to figure some things out. I ended up going completely broke in LA. I was living off of savings. I was still hobbling around while I was recovering my knee. I had an electric scooter that got stolen from me. I was taking the bus every day. I was sharing the same bed in the Airbnb with my buddy Jack. We were sleeping head to toe. There was no room in the apartment. I was taking the bus every damn day to Gold's Gym to try to film content, and I was just in such a pinch in my life. But the entire time, I told myself, this is gonna be worth it. This is going to be a story I can tell one day. And right now, I sit on the other side of this camera telling you the story, telling you what happens when you stick to it, telling you what happens when every single challenge in your life becomes an opportunity to learn and grow. When I started posting for coaching, when I found an opportunity, I bought a plane ticket back home so I could go all in with this business. I put my foot in the door and I saw an opening, so I went all in. And this is the biggest mentality shift once you see an opening that you need to make in your life. See, the brain is a funny thing, okay? The brain can be programmed like a computer, okay? Our brains are super intelligent, but you have to learn how to program it correctly. What I did was rewire my brain to cut out any simple dopamine, any easy pleasures, anything that I could receive instant gratification from, and if it wasn't towards a long-term goal, I didn't put it in my life. See, a lot of people like to take the easiest routes in life because they get the quickest satisfaction from it. They know there's no struggle, they know there's no challenge, there's no dragon that they have to slay. They don't have the courage to go and do it. And that puts you in line with everybody else. Everybody else that's average is doing that. They're not gonna take the extra step. They're not gonna run the extra mile. They're just gonna do as much as they have to get by. And just getting by is the epitome of average. You wanna be exceptional. You gotta program your brain to be absolutely exceptional. So here's what I did. I set strict routines for myself every single day. At 5:55, I will wake up and I will start my day. I will have a strict routine to keep me on track every single morning to set me up for my day. I would wake up, I would do push-ups until failure, I would do fastest cardio, I would take a cold shower, I would dial in on a meditation session, and I would get to work all day long. Anything that was scrolling, anything that was, dopamine based, gone, remove it. No scrolling, no phones, no movies, no Netflix, no porn especially, nothing that is easy dopamine for you to obtain. And this for some people is the hardest part. Some people can't even get themselves to do this. If you can get yourself the foundation to be a successful man, you can get there as fast as possible. Because here's the truth. There's nothing that changed about my inputs since a year ago when I started doing this. All that changed was the results. I was already the six-figure entrepreneur a year ago before I even made six figures because my inputs were the same the entire time. So my biggest thing for you is have needle movers. If what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, it can be the smallest things, aren't getting you 1% closer to that goal, then remove them. Because anything that makes you worse or anything that just keeps you the same is both negative. For example, if you're willing to hop the fence and get to the other side, doing the same thing every day is sitting on the fence. You haven't made a decision. And doing things that take you back keep you on the side that you don't want to be. You have to go all in. You have to jump over the fence to the other side. You have to full sprint, clear it, and keep running. You have no time to wait doing nothing, doing the same thing every day on the fence, because that builds stagnance. And stagnance kills dreams. But there's a reason to why I was doing each one of these things. See, just me telling you to wake up early or just me telling you that I did push-ups in the morning is simply not enough. There's a reason behind why I did all these things. I woke up, I set my alarm across the room, and I would wake up and I would have to go and get the alarm because why? It would force me to get out of bed. I would do push-ups. Why? Because I did something to physically exhaust my body when I least wanted to do it. And that put me in the mentality for the rest of the day to go and do shit I did not want to do. I did fasted cardio in the morning. Why? Not only was it burning fat and getting me cut, but I was putting myself in a piece of steady work for the rest of the day. So that way when I'm building programs, and that way when I'm trying to build a business, I can stay consistent and focused even though I want something, right? Which would be food because I'm doing it fasted. And in this case, I would want results from my business and not get it immediately and still be able to work for it. I would take a cold shower after. Why? To put myself into a position that things of temporary pain will be solved by permanent solution. I meditated. Why? Because I wanted a clear mind behind what my actions for the day were and how I could execute them perfectly. I journaled, not because I just wanted to write down what I was doing during the day, but I want to have a giant scope of my bigger purpose. You got to think of life in a bigger purpose. What is the biggest end goal so I could show myself that I was working for it piece by piece, filling in the puzzle every single step of the day. Every full day is a puzzle piece that you have to fill out. Every full day that goes by that you have inputs is one step closer to that goal. And so I was making sure I was keeping track of how much I was doing during the day, not on a day-to-day basis, but how much I will be able to do when all these days combine into one. And this is the end result. This is a part of the puzzle piece. Of course, I'm still adding puzzle pieces, but this is the end result of that first goal. The first actual puzzle built out of the entire set. And now I have to build all the sets. But every single day is just a smaller piece that you have to put in order to complete the puzzle. If you skip a day, if you miss a week, you're missing pieces and the image will never be complete. And now by doing this, I created myself into a high-value person. And this allowed me to find other like-minded people. I can now be the person to put myself in environments that other people want to be around. You can't just complain, how do I find a good high-value networking group? How can I find high-value friends? How can they find you? What are you going to supply? What are you going to bring to the table? And as soon as I realized that everybody is exchanging things in life, you need to have a solid offer and a friendship for somebody that's high value to want to be on your team. So moving forward, I always made sure I was the least successful person in the room. I always wanted to elevate myself. I flew out to Dallas and got with successful people that were 5 steps ahead of me because they know things that I don't know. They push me to levels that I have not yet reached. And this is the most important part. And I say this to everybody. As long as your inputs match somebody who's ahead of you, they have no problem working together at life because they know what they do on a day-to-day basis matches with how much you do on a day-to-day basis, and you will eventually get there. With this same mindset, when I started posting motivational content, the minute I stepped on that Stairmaster, I knew it was go time. I remember my first month on the Stairmaster, making those motivational videos. Because I was living as the person I was speaking about, everything came out so authentic and so fluent. I threw down probably 20 million views in the first month on the Stairmaster. And the most important part was learning how to monetize it. And so with this mindset of just complete success, wanting to actually make it, wanting to help others, doing everything I can, I decided to implement calls to action into every single piece of my content. Now, before I did motivation, I think I did $600 my first month with coaching. I did roughly $2,500 my second month. As soon as I started doing motivation and putting myself in that mindset when I flew home, I was cracking 10K months. I remember very vividly, I went from 10K to 18K to like 25K, and then I was smashing a 30K month. And it just came so quick because I was consistent and I knew how to build something for myself that can continuously grow. But when that is your one driver, when success is your only driver, it's inevitable. And when you find the boat, when you're the captain driving it and you find the boat to get you there, the boat for me was motivation on the Stairmaster. Anything is possible. Now it's just don't crash the ship. Stick to what you're doing and trust the process until you reach land. And what I'm trying to get at is the best part of all of this. Of course, making money is awesome. Of course, having all the views is awesome. But I made the entire process fun because seeing those results now click, that was my dopamine. Getting the fulfillment from success and instead of quick hits that got me nowhere. That idolization alone made it the best experience ever. I wish you could feel how much enjoyment I got from that mentality, from actually getting more drive and being satisfied and literally living life working for fun because I told myself that it was fun. I wish you guys could feel what that was like. And I want you guys to make it your absolute #1 mission to make that your reality next. Now here's the thing. Here's exactly how you guys can do it too. Now besides just listening to me talk about it and doing it myself, I need you guys to do it on your own. And so here's exactly how I want you guys to go about this. The first thing you need to do is look at the people around you. Is who I'm with actually on the same path as me, with goals just as big, with inputs just as strong? And do they have vices that are holding me back? And are they doing things that are making me hold myself back because I want to fit in? If that's the case, you need to remove them immediately. The second thing you need to do is look at your environment. Is your environment holding you back? Is your hometown holding you back? Are the day-to-day people holding you back? Are the limiting beliefs around you holding you back? If so, you need to get out of that limiting belief. You need to understand that you can be the one to make the change and prove everybody else wrong. Or you need to completely change environments and reset so it's just you, putting in the inputs every single day, creating the life that you want to make with whatever environment that you're in. The third thing you need to do, you need to have routines for yourself that actually set you up for success. You need to wake up with ambition. You need to wake up with an actual target and set yourself up with whatever you need to do during the day. Whether that's completely copying my routine or that's making your own. Have things that are needle movers in the morning to set you up for success during the day, every single day. Something that's consistent, something that you can do no matter what, no matter where you are, no matter what's going on, and no matter who is with you. The fourth thing you need to do is a dopamine detox. I want you to take whatever dopamine you're getting from unfulfilling things that aren't a positive impact in your life, and I want you to throw them in the absolute garbage. I want you to never do them again, even if it's for 30 days. I challenge you to get rid of any dopamine that is unearned and is going to unsatisfy the needs of your potential. Throw it in the garbage. The fifth and final thing, I need you to rewire your brain to accept challenges and make them fun, because the hard things in life are what make you successful. And without hard challenges, without a story to tell, you're never going to change. The things that most people avoid are the same things that they are holding themselves back with that are going to set them free. Do not let it be you. Look, unfucking your brain is not easy, because if it was, literally everybody would be driving this car everybody would be living the life that they want to live. The dreams in their head, it wouldn't be dreams, it would be reality. I'm not saying it's easy, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it is simple. It comes down to consciously choosing your environment, choosing your inputs, choosing your routines, choosing your dopamine source, and putting yourself into a position that will guarantee you inevitable success. It just comes down to understanding that hard things can become fun and enjoyable when you know that there's a greater vision, a greater result down the road. Listen, if you're serious about this and really want to make a change in your life, and maybe you've thought about doing online fitness coaching like myself, I do work with a very strong group of guys where I'm helping them scale their businesses from 0 to 10K and beyond. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that it's going to be a fairy tale, but if you're willing to put in the work and you want to achieve this mindset and this reality, then you can hit me up. This isn't for everybody. I want people that are ready, people that are willing, and people that are determined. If you are serious about scaling your online coaching business and want to work with me one-on-one to unfuck your brain, to get yourself out of the environment that you're living in, to put yourself into a group of absolute class act people and business owners, then you can join. I'll put a link down in my description for you guys. Feel free to schedule up a call and I'll see what I can do. Hope to see you soon.